to another episode of Going Back to the Basics, where we're going to take exercises out of instructional manuals, instructional books, and walk through them together as if we're the student and see, how does it all turn out? Does it work? Does it not work? Of course, they're supposed to work. So, did we work or did we not work? I guess is the answer. Hope you enjoy it. We're going to try to do a lot of things, and I hope it's just about as fun to watch as it is for me to do, because it's fun to go back and, it's fun to go back to the basics. Enjoy. Alright guys, welcome to another episode of Back to the Basics. In this episode we're still working with the Blacksmithing Basics for the Homestead by Joe De La Ronde or something like that. Actually this next project is something I need. In here he has drawer handles that he's making, and we're going to use the same technique that he uses, but I don't need a drawer handle. I need a handle for my wire brush, right? I don't use this heavy brush because my fingers just, I want a handle on it, basically. So we're gonna go ahead, following the same techniques as a drawer handle, we're gonna make a handle for my wire brush. Now he uses round stock. I kind of want to use flat stock, but we'll use round so that we'll use for the exercise anyway. He doesn't tell you exactly what to do. About 1 inch and flatten it, he doesn't go into a lot of details. His progression drawing here isn't too bad. Round stock, flatten both ends, drill or punch holes in there, curve the whole thing, and then flatten it back down. It's a relatively simple thing to do, except if you're trying to make like a perfectly round end on this. Now you got so a little bit more work that you need to do, and we'll do that. We'll try to come up with, as much as I'd like something more decorative and rolly like this one, a round end on a round bar, a flat round end like a washer basically. That'll help us play around with upsetting and controlling the size. So let me get some stock cut. So knowing what we know about calculating stock, this should be a relatively easy calculation to do. So here's the top of my wire brush. I simply want a disc up, down, disc, right? So I need it for my hand. I don't want it too big. I don't want it flopping around. So we're looking at I'd like 4 inches. All right, so my hand's kind of tight inside there. So 4 inches on this part, and for clearance on my hand, let's do, I don't want it too high, but I don't want it too short, 1.5 inches. So I want 1.5 inches clearance here. All right, 1.5 inches there, and 4 inches here. So if that were just the stock we were trying to use, we go center line to center line, so 1.5 inches, but if I'm going to use 1/2 inch round. So that would be 1.5 inches plus 1/2 of a half is, because we go to the center line, is 1 3/4 inches, right, on both sides. So that's 2 3 1/2, right? 1 3/4 is 3.5 inches. We need 3.5 for this, plus the 4 inches across. Now I want 4 inches on the inside. That's something I didn't calculate on the vertical. Which means I need half again on both sides, so I need 4.5 inches to the center. Yep. So 4.5 plus the 3. What did I say? 3.5 on the outside, right? 3 inch and, oh my God, Chandler. Sorry guys. My brain I didn't write it down. All right, let's do it this way again. So we need 1.5 inches plus 1/2, 1.5 inches clear plus 1/2. Yeah, that makes, no, plus 1/2. I want from here to be 1.5 inches. Okay? Okay, gentlemen. Now, that means I got a 1/2 inch stock out here. So that center line is 1 3/4 inches. 1 3/4 and 1 3/4 is 3.5. That's what I should have wrote down. 3.5 there, and then 4 and 4 here is 4.5. Is what we need. 8 inches. But how much are we going to lose here and here? So we're going to say we're going to just take 1 inch worth of stock on both sides. We'll see what we end up with by doing that. So 1 inch on both sides means we're at 8. We need 10 inches of stock for this handle. Except that's a square handle. Yeah, I might put a bit of a curve into it. That's all right. Design as you go, that's for sure. 10 inches of stock. Alright, according to my calculations, 10 inches of stock should give me what I'm looking for using a 1/2 inch round. Alright, so we heated, this one was I almost wiped off my mark. Heated up one end of this, got a mark on the anvil where there's 1 inch. That's what we said we're going to take, using the rounding hammer. That should really get stuff moving out quick. And I won't go too thin yet, because actually we're going to have a bit of a taper there coming up. So I'm going to go ahead and taper that too. Alright, because what we need to do now is we need to kind of round this off, because I do kind of want it round. So by doing a little work over the anvil, especially if you have nice square edges, you can pull that off. I can't. Haven't figured it out totally yet, but we're getting at it. We're getting there. Alright? Try to come up with a round. Alright, so come back and work on this again. Now as I'm hammering over that edge, I am putting a lip on the back side, and that's what I want to do, so that I can come back and round that lip. I can do that by coming up like this and just rolling it up and round. Don't lose the channel. Same thing here, rolling it up and round. Now, again, like I'm not telling you I know how to do this well, but I will figure it out. Those are the techniques that I know I need to use. Flip that around. Remember, you're hammering on both sides when you're doing it, basically. And that isn't too bad at all. Alright, we'll cool it down and flip around to the other side. Alright, we'll go ahead, find that mark again. Should end up with the same kind of scenario here if we do it right. We'll go like that, come back and start bringing our corners in, hopefully building a step as we do, just like that. Flatten that back out or spread it back out a little more. About the same thickness, and then we go ahead and round that back one on. That's looking pretty good. That's looking pretty good. So that's not too bad at all. A little bit. Looks pretty close to the same size. This one looks much better than that one. Maybe we learned something in the process. Alright, next thing we need to do is we need to bend. I want a 90 at 1.5 inches and a 90 at 1.5 inches. Inch and 3/4 actually, to give me an 1.5 inches clearance. So 1 3/4 inches. So since that side's hot, let's do that one first. 1 3/4 inches. Alright, so in his exercise, all he does is put a little curve on this and flatten out the ends, and he's done. But since we're doing this for a reason, I'm going to go ahead and, because I want this to be a 90, for the reason that I have in mind anyway. So again, I had a mark on the anvil at 1.5 inches. Hopefully, or 1 3/4 inches, like we said. Hopefully that'll give me 1 inch and looks like about 1 3/4 inches. That looks like it works really well. Straighten this out. And now what I need to do is I need to bend this piece back flat in this direction. But you know, even in his exercise, once you curve that piece, you got to bend those tabs flat. So we'll do that now since that side's hot. That one's going to be a little tricky. The second one's going to be even worse. So in hindsight, because of the design change that I made with this particular project, I should have bent this piece out first. So we need this piece to be 90 degrees in this direction, right there. And it's kind of awkward now because of the bend that I already put in. We want things to line up well so that the hole is right where I want it to be. And we got our 90 there. Hopefully that's good enough. But what we learned in that process is that we should have put that bend in first. And then when we roll it around, it would be right where we want it to be. So we're going to do that the right way over here. So the first thing we're going to do is bend the tab 90. And then measure up our 1.5 inches or 1 3/4 and do that. And that way we should have a little less awkward handling. I'm thinking anyway. Let's get at it. Alrighty, so we are going to be in this direction, right, Chandler? Makes you think on this one a little, but we're going to bend that right there. Get our 90 all ready to go. That should be sweet. And then, hopefully my amble's wide enough. We get our 1 1/4 bend that way. Hopefully the handle's wide enough. Hopefully we can find some type of tongers that will allow me to do that. Lash the next bend. Alrighty. Now, because I don't want that first bend I put in to distort just from the force of the hammering, like an inertial force. Inertial, is that a word? Maybe it is. So we're going to come back here, 1 3/4 mark is where I had before, and I almost have enough room. The key is, right now, if I did everything well, these handles should be at the same elevation. If I did everything well. So let's get that bent back at a 90. Oh, hands. Don't fall, don't fall. No, don't fall. Chandler's the only blacksmith in the world that drops anything. That's what I was told. Alright. It looks darn close. I want to make sure things are lined up now. I'm a little bit wonked in this direction. We're just going to heat this up and see how she sits. Alright, we got a little bit of a twist in the handle. Alright, so you can see it's kind of S-ing out on me. So I'm going to try to fix that. It would be easy to fix right on the vise over there. But let's see if we can just fix it by hammering. Just for the sake of doing it. And we're getting much closer. We're still a little in that direction here. It's not bad right now. It's not bad at all. So let's see how she sits this way. Yeah, we got our angles right. We look like we're a little taller over here than over there. I don't know if I can just kind of persuade that into submission or not. It's pretty damn good. Alright, let's let her get cooled down, and I'll drill the holes. That's what he says to do, drill them. Instead of punching them, we'll drill them. That's okay. You know, you try to do a good job and something like that happens. I center punched them, but that drill, it wouldn't drill that thing. I was pushing and it walked. Well, good thing I'm not trying to sell it. Anyway, this is done. And again, it's the same basic project as his drawer pull. The only difference is, instead of just curving this piece and then flattening out the tabs, we went with some 90s. So nothing wrong with changing it up a little bit, especially if you have a purpose for it. One thing you might want to do before you do something like this is measure your wire brush block, because I barely fit on there with these holes, but I didn't realize that. But everything else looks good. Let me what are we gonna do here? Oh hell, let me mount it and we'll be done. All right, there you have it. Back to the basics. I put the handle on diagonal since it was long. It's gonna give me a little better sweep anyway, I think. But back to the basics, using blacksmithing basics for the Homestead, working on the drawer handle project. Just changed it up a little bit. Nice little exercise. for material estimating, as well as, you know, if you're making drawer pulls, you're probably making more than one. So this is a good project for repeatability, which we'll get into eventually. But yeah, it's same size stock should give you the same size output. This curve would be much easier to produce than the 90-degree bend that I did, and most likely easy to reproduce. But there you have it. Drawer pull. Catch you on the next one. If you found this video helpful, educational, maybe even if you just found it entertaining, and you want to support me, you can jump back to my channel. There's a button on the right hand side of the screen called support, and it's kind of like a tip jar. You can go ahead and leave a tip for this video, and that'll help me make some more, I guarantee. Thanks for your support, as always.